Hello, everybody. I thought I would take a little time tonight to touch bases and talk a little bit about our belief system, why we are either where we want to be or not where we want to be. And so, sorry. So let me just do a quick sharing of this video really quick, and then we'll go from there. So as people hop on, and please say hello, tell me where you're from, and tell me what maybe where you're at with your holiday season and what you expect to get out of it. Are you reaching your goals? What kind of maybe like what inspires you, or maybe I'm always interested in sharing content and creating content that works for everybody. So give me a hashtag live, say hi, tell me where you're from. So I thought I would just talk a little bit tonight about where we are, why are you not where you want to be? And some of this is just cumulative behaviors. So some things that we're really used to doing. And it's interesting, I was talking to one of my clients online today, and she was telling me she was doing some, let me look it up really quick here. She said she's doing some behavior modification with a therapist. So sometimes what we have to do is recognize that we keep repeating the same behaviors over and over and over. And maybe sometimes we keep expecting different results, but we can't expect different results unless we are actually doing different behaviors. And so that's where sometimes I know for me, with my clients, the Beck Diet Solution. I think it's a great book on building our cognitive behaviors and creating sorry, I'm moving some things around here. So creating really learning to create change, so conscious change, so not just depending on our subconscious and whatever comes up for us, we just keep doing that same thing over and over. We're like on the squirrel's wheel to nowhere. So belief, we have to believe in ourselves. You have to believe in yourself. What do you tell yourself daily? Are you telling yourself positive things, or are you continuously talking negative? So, the more negativity that we send out into the universe, the more negativity we get back. The more positivity we send out into the universe, the more positive that we get back. So another great book I love to read for myself. I have it on both audio tape and in book format is The Secret. And I know it's an old format, so let's be honest, the Bible's an old format too, and we continue to read it and be blessed with it and get something out of it. So reading some of these old books that really bring positivity to us and continue to reiterate what we need to do, where we need to go. And I love the way that the law of attraction in The Secret, it's a simple law. So if we're constantly thinking about our bills, we attract more bills. If we're constantly thinking about, gratitude, how we can give back and how we can help others, then we're constantly getting gratitude back, and people are constantly sending good things our way. So that's the way that the universe works. So if we are constantly talking negative to ourselves, we're going to get that negative response. We're going to, if we're telling ourselves we can't do better than what we've done before, we're going to continue that cycle of self-doubt, and leading to emotional eating, leading to binging, leading to, self-sabotaging behaviors, and it's just a vicious cycle. So things to think about and do is take a moment to write down positive affirmations. One of my most successful clients has now lost 80 pounds and has been really working in maintenance. First time ever, she's been able to lose a large amount of weight and keep it off. And she attributes a lot of that to having some index cards, and she wrote these index cards originally when she sat down with me a year ago and decided, she wanted to lose that 80 to 100 pounds and to really learn, new behaviors. And so having that index card, she wrote 3 index cards, and they were all positive affirmations about, how she felt in her new clothes, how she felt in her new body, how she felt getting on an airplane and sitting down, and the seatbelt fit, and just having all of those positive affirmations, putting them on a card. She had a card at her bedside, she has a card in her purse, and she has a card at her desk. And so at lunchtime, when she's eating her, good for her lunch, instead of going and heading to her not so good for her meal at somewhere else, she's sitting there and reading her card and reaffirming to herself really why she went down this path, and why she's continuing to head down this path. So things to do. Highly, highly successful people meet their goals, and the way that they meet their goals is by writing their affirmations, putting them on a card, reading them twice a day. So I put mine in my telephone. I have them in my notes in my telephone. So, easy things to do, but, only a very small percentage of people actually write their affirmations and goals, and those are the people that actually accomplish them. So I encourage you to do that. Another thing is, what do you allow others to tell you? Do you allow them to tell you that you're going to fail in the end? Do you allow them to tell you, yeah, you might have lost all of this weight, or you might have accomplished this goal or that goal that you've never accomplished before, but you're not going to be able to sustain that? So, remembering that the higher that you go, I guess the more, I don't like this word haters, but the higher that you go, the more people are going to be there to, deflect and to step in your path and to trip you up. So putting on your fast Nike tennis shoes and jumping over the hurdles that people, are going to put in your way, and learning how to rise above and stop telling yourself negative things. So, we can use those little negative things that we tell ourselves to fuel our fire to succeed. We can use them to strengthen our faith in ourselves. So again, taking those words, turning them into positive affirmations, and really trusting in the process of the affirmations. So taking that moment instead of watching TV. So again, some of the habits of highly successful people is they're not wasting their time on TV, on social media. They read 60 self-motivating, educational, self-improvement books per year. So think about this. The most highly successful people on earth are reading 60 books a year. The majority of the population doesn't even get through one book per year. So I encourage you to put books on podcast, listen to videos that create positivity, read books that improve you. And like I said, love The Secret, love Beck Diet Solution, that's BECK. So those are great ones to put on your list. Remembering that 90% of our thoughts are subconscious. So, you know, a lot of times we think that we don't have control of our thoughts, and maybe it feels that way, but actually we can take control of our thoughts. Let's see, if you allow, you know, people, if someone says you suck, are you going like, hey, maybe I do suck? So, you know, not allowing that self-talk, not allowing those subconscious thoughts to get in your way. If someone says, you're amazing, you can do it, you're going like, yeah, I can do it, I can do it. So making sure that we're keeping our thought processes conscious. So when we find that we do those same behaviors over and over again, and we, you know, we expect different results, but we never get them, and then we get really frustrated with ourselves, that's where we have to write down the behavior. This is the behavior I want to change. So, you know, maybe you have a 2-column piece of paper. So the left side is the behavior that you want to change. The right side is the path to change. And maybe you have to write 5 different ways to change that behavior. You know, if it's getting in the refrigerator at 7 o'clock at night, you know, what do you do? What are the 5 things that you do? You make yourself a cup of tea. You put a big Post-it note on the refrigerator, do not enter. You know, there's a variety of things that we can put in place. If we know that in the afternoon, that's the time frame that we have a lull, and we tend to want something, a pick-me-up, a sweet, or what have you, then that's the time that you have your little protein bar, your snack bar, or maybe you have some yummy herbal tea that has a good flavor to it. There's lots and lots of great herbal teas at this time of year, that candy cane and all different things, and they have nothing in them, they have no sugar in them, but they do have some really fun flavors at this time of year. So just remembering, you know, removing the self-conscious thoughts into the conscious spectrum, and the only way to do that is to really introspect the things that we don't them down, write 5 ways that you're going to, when that thing comes up, write 5 ways that you're going to, you know, have 5 different paths to go down. Maybe it's a cup of tea, maybe it's a walk, maybe it's a big bottle of water, maybe it's you walk away and read a book, maybe it is you go and you read your affirmations card, and you have to do all 5 of them before anything, you know, before you can make that subconscious choice, and now you've brought it into consciousness, so you're able to actually change that. Remembering that we can have excuses. This is the classic time of year for excuses. We can just, you know, we're busy, we're tired, we have too many things to do, lots and lots of ways to make excuses, but one of the things that, you know, we have to look at is, did you have 20 minutes throughout the day to get on Facebook and check what everybody else was doing? Did you have time to make some posts? You know, have you watched a half an hour of TV? So understanding that we can prioritize things any way that we want to. So we can either make excuses or we can say, I have to do this for me. And, you know, really making that conscious, again, that conscious decision that this is so important to you that you have to do it for you, and that you're willing to do that for you. And you know, an interesting thing that I ask people is, you know, if I could tell you that you could be at goal weight in, you know, by April, would it be worth it to you? Oh yeah, of course it would be worth it to you. But then, you know, you get in the trenches and in the moment and it doesn't feel like it's worth it. But do you know how fast April's going to come? It's going to come that fast. It's going to come as fast as last April came. I mean, it seems like yesterday that we were talking about 2019 and now we're ending the decade. And so, you know, I've encouraged all of my clients, end the decade on the best, healthiest holiday season that you've ever gone through. So make this the time at which you choose the healthiest habits you've ever chosen during the holiday season, and knowing that just if you maintain your weight, maybe you lose a few pounds, but you go into the beginning of the year not in that place of self, I don't want to say self-negativity, but, you know, in that place where you're annoyed with yourself that over the, you know, since Halloween, it's been a slippery slide of just nothing but indulgences and, you know, 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 pounds later, because that's exactly how quickly that can have. Changing the way that we speak to ourselves is essential to success. And so again, writing a page of how you talk to yourself, and maybe you post it on your bathroom mirror, because for me that tends to be the place that, you know, I get up in the morning, I wash my face, I look in the mirror and go, okay, you know, what are we going to do today? Are we going to stay focused on the goal? And we have all different kinds of goals. So understanding we don't have to always just be writing about our weight. A lot of times, you know, we're not happy about ourselves, the way we conducted ourselves as a parent, or maybe as a child in talking with our parents, and or how we treat other people at the office, or just how we feel about ourselves in general. Have we accomplished the things we thought we were going to accomplish by this time in our life? And so really taking a long look at those things. And I love this time of year because instead of waiting until January 1st to make your New Year's resolutions, why not be making all of these changes now and sliding into the new year with already being down the road, not starting on January 1st or 2nd, but actually being on the way to where you want to head. So, you know, having your plan, a lot of times I like to say, take your plan and work it backwards. So if your plan is, you know, I want to lose 50 pounds and get in shape, we know that on Ideal Protein, that's about 10 pounds a month. So, you know, we're looking at probably around May by the time you phase out. And yes, you can be, you know, doing some light Pilates and a yoga class and going for walks and getting yourself in shape at the same time. So encouraging you to change the way that you talk to yourself, believe in yourself, write your affirmations, write your goals, write, you know, take your goals, work them backwards so that you know exactly what your goal is, how achievable it is. Don't have unachievable goals. They just set us up for failure. Every failure that we have kind of chips away at our belief system in ourselves. So we need to set up goals and mini goals that help us to keep searching and going down the road. We all know that when we look at the scale and we have achieved our 1.5 to 2 pounds a week, we feel really good. And so in keeping with that, remembering that numbers are not everything, and that the way that we feel about ourselves and our discipline and feeling in control of ourselves is also a really, really important positive thing when we know that we've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. Whether the scale says it or not, we know that we've done it. And instead of being disappointed in ourselves, when that number isn't what you want it to be, actually just trusting the process and knowing that long term, you're getting there. You're going right where you're heading. So one of the things to changing our behaviors, changing our belief system, changing how we talk to ourselves is changing our surroundings. And this is probably the hardest one for most people. I know for me it was really hard. I made a lot of changes, probably between the years of like 40 to 45, even into my late 30s. I've always done a lot of reading and lots of self-learning. And so, one of the things that I started learning probably starting in my mid-30s was I had to mirror the change that I wanted to see. So, I had to figure out how to be the person I wanted to become. So, if you've ever looked at some of my transformation pictures, not only was I overweight, I had short dark hair and was a little different version than the girl I am today. So we can all make ourselves into who we see, who we want to see in the mirror. And it doesn't have to be physical. It can be, one of the things I started learning also was that beauty comes from here. Beauty shines through our face, but really it starts right here. So we don't have to be physically beautiful to be beautiful. Interior beauty shines through in our eyes, our actions, the way that we treat others, and the response that we get from other people. So, it's not just about exterior beauty, because as we know, you can see somebody really attractive looking, but when they open their mouth and they're angry or they say mean-spirited things, they're not so pretty anymore. So understanding that we can make ourselves into what we want to make ourselves into, but understanding that, it's from the inside out. So the one thing I was heading towards here is we have to change our surroundings. And you've all heard this before. We are the common denominator of, the 5 or 6 people that surround us. And, a lot of people like to say, no, that's not true. But it is. And so, if you want to get to the top, if you want to get all the way to where you're heading, all the way to the penthouse suite, it's the elevator of life. And at certain floors, sometimes people have to get off because they're not helping us. They're not contributing to our and our personal, the way that we feel inside, the person that we want to mirror, the person that we really want to be. And so understanding that sometimes let things go, people go, situations go, You know, there have been a variety of times in my life where I had to clean house, whether that was people that I hung out with and partied with, people that were related to me that were self-sabotaging and not not nice, and I didn't want to be that way. I didn't want to be like them, and you know, people that gossip, people that are mean-spirited, people that talk mean to you and do unkind things, and in many instances, those are the hardest. Those are the hardest things to get rid of. You know, but it's really hard to hang out with those people and become successful. So, you know, we have to all take stock in what and who we surround ourselves. And so, you know, changing our mind, writing our goals, having daily affirmations, training our subconscious mind to believe, you know, making yourself a vision board. You can, you know, have a physical vision board. You can have a Pinterest vision board. And of course, you know, reading that every day, reminding yourself every day. An important thing to remember is we don't get places by ourselves, and you know, maybe some of us do, but for me it's been a long term. I've had great female mentors in my life. I had a great therapist in my life for you know, a long time. Having a coach, pro athletes don't get to where they're going by themselves. They have coaches, they have teams, they learn to become team players, they learn to listen, they learn to take advice, they learn to implement the advice. You know, follow the people that you know how to get there, and certainly in you know, what we do here with our businesses and in Ideal Protein as health coaches, we do what we do because we're passionate about it. I know that I'm passionate about every single one of my clients. I love each person's success. I personally know their story. I know their health issues. I know lots of things in many instances about their personal life or their business life, or their, you know, things that cause them not to be, you know, in the place that they want to be at. So understanding that when you hire a coach, trust them, trust what they say to you, and invest in the process. Take the time to invest in the process. You're literally 2 months, 5 months, a year away from being where you want to be, and again, staying with your coach as you transition out into maintenance and out into learning a whole new way of life from what you have done in the past, and developing those new healthful habits that will keep you feeling good and healthy, and will keep you an example to those around you, particularly our families and our children. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you for taking the time to listen tonight, and share this with anybody you know who needs it. And happy holidays to everyone. Good night, you guys.